broadcast because, let's see, Debbie, right about now we are probably over the Atlantic Ocean somewhere.
And I hope we're still flying.
Yeah. This is airing on the day that Debbie and I and about 60 other pilgrims are headed to the Holy Land. So we would ask you, our dear listeners, please keep us in your prayers, and we are taking the prayer intentions of many of you with us. You can still add them if you want, because we're going to be landing in the Holy Land sometime after this show airs. And so that you can go to takemyprayers@gmail.com. It's not too late to get your prayers added to that. But Debbie, this is exciting. We're going to do something brand new, first time random takes program. Looking forward to it.
Random takes, random questions, anything that's on your mind, and you can go ahead and just share it with us. So this is really exciting. And Jerry, I'd love to just start off the show, if I may, with some random questions that just came in from Glenn and Laura in Scribner, Nebraska, if I can. Can I do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
I would.
And then we
okay,
got
because I think
full
it's
phone lines, actually.
We
too,
do.
so.
We have full phone lines, and that's amazing. And this is from Glenn and Laura from Scribner, Nebraska, and they've asked a couple questions. They said, "What sites are we going to be visiting in the Holy Land?" They wanted to know what shrines we're going to go to. Do we have any concerns about flying into Israel? And also, what do we want to get out of our trip? What do we want to walk away with the most from visiting the Holy Land? Wow, that's huge questions for us. I want you to go first, Jerry, because I have to think about it a little.
Well, I didn't jot down all of those, but we're going to the Holy Land, obviously, and once we land, literally, when this show airs, we are in the air. But we are going to be going first to the Sea of Tiberias. There's a hotel there, and then we'll go to some of the different sites. And I don't know exactly. In fact, let me look at. I'm on Steve Ray's website here.
Very cool.
You know what? I don't have the list of the itinerary with me, but we'll be, of course, in Jerusalem. We will see the upper room. We will see, I believe...
Are we going to the Sea of Galilee?
The Sea of Galilee, where Jesus walked on water. We're going to go to Capernaum. We're going to go to... we're going to see... This is really a highlight. The church believes that it has identified the very spot where Jesus was born of the Virgin Mary, and there is a commemoration there, and so we're gonna be able to wait in a line and then go and venerate that place, and if we've got rosaries and things and kind of touch them there. So anyway, I don't know the whole list, but that's the best I can do with that one.
So we're pretty much going everywhere.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. So the second part of Laura and Glenn's question is do we have any concerns about going? What are our concerns?
Well, I'm not sure what our concerns are. I don't have any.
Yeah,
do you?
I don't either. No, I don't. I mean, I've kind of researched it, and I found that, Israel is extremely safe. I mean, they have great security at all the places, all the Holy Land sites. And I don't really have any concerns. I'm really at peace about that. And the last part of Laura.
Well, let me just comment on that, Deb, if I may, because I live 60 miles from where it's now being called a terrorist attack. That was in San Bernardino, California. I'm 60 miles east of there, where, if I remember right, 14 people were just shot in cold blood. And I live about 20 miles from where I understand a bomb was planted at a mosque. So, I mean, this, it's getting closer and closer to home for all of us. So I was kind of joking with Steve Ray, our pilgrimage guide, via email the other day. I said, if this all keeps up, I may move to Israel.
Yeah. Well,
because,
no, seriously.
So that's my explanation of, I'm not concerned about security. I know it's going to be great. And quite frankly, nowadays, where can you go where you're completely safe? I don't know. It's getting pretty bad.
Right, and that's interesting what you said, Jerry, and I chuckled because they actually talk about that on the news all the time, that Israel is probably the most prepared for situations because they're always on high alert. And so the security is very heightened, and so that does give a natural sense of security, of peace and security. So, no, I'm not concerned either. The last part of Laura's question, real quick, she says, what do you most want to get out of our trip to the Holy Land? I know what mine is. You go first.
Well, I'll just hearken back to almost 5 years ago when I went to the Holy Land, and I took a lot of people's prayer intentions with me, which we're doing again this time. Email us at takemyprayers@gmail.com. I left one prayer intention behind for myself. I wrote it on a little piece of paper, and it was the Church of St. Anne, I believe, Mary, the Virgin Mary's mother. And I just wrote health of mind and body, peace of soul, joy of heart, love for all. Let me repeat that. Health of mind and body, peace of soul, joy of heart, love for all. And since then, the Lord has blessed me in those areas, and I am grateful to God for that. And so, really, that's all that I could ask for is and just gratitude for the opportunity to return to the Holy Land. What about you?
Yeah. Well, this is my first time. I just want to experience just where Jesus and his mom lived and breathed and ministered. And I do feel that that is a special place to take prayers to, because I just feel it's just, very close, obviously, to the heart of Jesus and his mom. Because they were Jewish, and it's very. I just don't. I can't explain it, but it wells up inside of me, this sense of that it's just at the root of everything. And so going to the Holy Land will kind of just make sense of everything. It's kind of like when I visited Rome. I felt that same way. I got such a love for the Vatican and such a love for the area and the history of our lineage in our Catholic faith. And then I feel going way back into our Jewish roots to the Holy Land, that's definitely going to complete it for me. So that's what I'm looking for, and to a deep sense of prayer and connection. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's often called the fifth gospel, the Holy Land. So anyone who has never been there, I certainly encourage you if you get the opportunity to go. All right, we're going to start your phone calls right now. This is a pre-recorded broadcast of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Please pray for us. We're probably still in the air on our way to Israel right now. And we'll take your calls in the order in which you called. So we're just going to do it the most fair way that we can. And so it looks like Annabelle called in first from Meriden, Connecticut. Annabelle, did I get the town right?
Yes, you did.
Meriden, Connecticut. Well, blessings to you. We can now say Merry Christmas, because this show's airing on December 28th. Merry Christmas, Annabelle. How are you?
Thank you, dear. You too. Oh, well, believe me, it's cold. But I have a question. I always wonder, if you don't mind me asking real quick,
No.
what is the difference between a disciple and an apostle? And I was pumped to tell you my full name. My name is Annabelle Pagan, but some people call it pagan, but I'm really Catholic, passionately Catholic.
Yeah, there is
That's what they told me to tell you.
Well, no, that's funny, Annabelle, because there's a baseball player, Angel Pagan, and it's spelled Pagan, and there's a hockey player whose last name is Satan, Satan. So you're not alone in people kind of misunderstanding how your name is pronounced. But on the topic of difference between an apostle and a disciple, and Debbie, you can weigh in. You've taught a lot of religious education, but my understanding is, an apostle is someone who actually was alive at the time of Jesus. We know that the first 12 were chosen by Jesus himself. Judas betrayed him, and then was replaced by Matthias, if I have that right. Was it? I think it was Matthias, right? And so I believe an apostle is one that has to have been, alive and ministering with Jesus. A disciple, Debbie, is any one of us, really. So an apostle is a disciple, but not all disciples are apostles. Is that?
You got it.
Come on,
That's
Debbie, clean up my mess if I made one.
Yeah, no, that's my understanding as well, and that's how I've always taught it. The apostles were the original chosen ones by Jesus. Disciples were all disciples. They're followers of Jesus, believers of Jesus. So just like Jerry said, the apostles were disciples, but not all disciples are apostles. So the apostles were the original chosen ones, the original chosen 12, and then of course, what happened afterwards. But the apostles were the ones that were chosen by Jesus. Does that help clarify it a little? And Jerry, you want to jump back in?
Well, first, Annabelle, does that make sense to you?
Well, it made sense to me, but I had it backwards. I thought that
you did?
He chose 12 disciples.
Well, he did.
Well, he did. They were disciples. They were disciples. A disciple simply means a student. An apostle comes from the word, one who is sent. And here's one way of understanding it. The church believes that there is what is called public revelation and private revelation. Private revelation comes through a special unique gift or grace, typically an apparition of the Virgin Mary like at Fatima or something, whereas public revelation is the core doctrinal body of doctrines of the church, and the church says that public revelation ended with the death of the last apostle. So that's another way that we understand that those first 12, and then it was Matthias who replaced Judas. I believe John, the beloved disciple, he calls himself a disciple, but he was an apostle. He was the last one to die, if I'm not mistaken. And so at that point, public revelation ended. But Annabelle, I hope that's okay. We've got to get to a break and then many more of your calls. So Joe and Sharon and Johnny and Cindy on our pre-recorded Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We are not taking live calls today as Debbie and I are in the air en route to the Holy Land. And we want to pray for you. It's not too late. Email us at takemyprayers@gmail.com, and we will remember you and whatever you have going on in your life while we're in the Holy Land. Stay with us. We are coming right back on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Toddlers are utterly free, maybe too free. In the quiet moments after communion the other day, my 3-year-old repeatedly shouted, "I tooted." They don't care what people think of them. They actually don't really worry about anything. Who's going to pay the bills? Where's my next meal going to come from? They get in their car seats without asking, where are we going? They fall asleep in those car seats and wake up somewhere else and never wonder, what happened last night? That's because they know they have a father and a mother who love them and look out for them. So they're free to enjoy the ride. As we get older, we have responsibilities and stresses that pile up on us. But it's important to remember that we still have a Heavenly Father who loves us, and no matter how crazy things get, He's looking out for us. And from the eternal perspective, everything's going to be fine. You know what that means? It means we can enjoy the ride. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
GMA Songwriter of the Year Matt Maher is coming to Chaffetz Arena in St. Louis next April 23rd. He'll headline an evening of contemporary Christian music that's being billed as the One Faith Extreme. The concert will be the perfect culmination of a day you won't want to miss. The One Faith Experience is a day-long conference featuring speakers such as Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers, Father Larry Richards, Tim Staples, and more. Reserve seat tickets are just $15 and $18 and are available now at onefaithexperience.com. Have your faith re-energized and be uplifted by great Catholic music at the One Faith Experience and Extreme. Tickets and information are online at onefaithexperience.com. That's onefaithexperience.com.
Thanks so much for staying with us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. This is a pre-recorded show called Random Takes, your random questions, because Jerry and I are right now, as we speak, probably in the air, en route to the Holy Land. And so that's why we wanted to do this show, to make sure you had something to listen to that was new and fresh, and you can stay with us. And we're enjoying this conversation on random takes, random questions from our listeners that are on hold. So we are going right to Joe in El Paso, Texas. And Joe, you get our Patience Award today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. You're listening on Sirius XM 130, and you have been waiting so patiently. So Merry Christmas, Joe. Thanks for joining us.
Merry Christmas to you, too. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Sure.
Listen, I had a question real quick. Other people online. I'm a truck driver. I work a lot. I listen to the Sirius Radio, the EWTN 130, and on Sundays I'm not able to go to Mass, so I listen to it. I was wondering, does that count for me, or because it's even better, I think, because I'm not distracted, by anything.
Right.
So I was just wondering if it actually counts for me, or because it's kind of difficult to find a stop a place, a church, and try to get to a Mass. And
Sure. Joe, this is a question a lot of people actually have to address because, quite frankly, in our culture today, we go back maybe centuries, and the Lord's Day was recognized and honored even by secular culture, if you will. I remember growing up. I had my first job at the age of 12 in a grocery store in a very small town, and that store was closed on Sundays. And then, later, of course, they kind of, quote, got with the times and I guess realized, how much money they could be making on Sunday. But to answer your question, we're in a kind of a cultural situation right now that requires some of us, such as yourself, to be working on the Lord's Day. And so, yeah, it's a great, great thing to listen to the Mass on the radio. In fact, you can do that every day, as I'm sure you know. It does not technically fulfill your Sunday obligation. However, if you simply are unable to get to a church, if you are physically obstructed from getting to a Catholic church to celebrate the Sunday Mass, then the church would say in that case your obligation could be dispensed. But my suggestion, Joe, and I don't know if you thought about this, is finding a weekday Mass somewhere and just in your heart saying, Lord, I feel bad that I can't make it to Sunday Mass on the Lord's Day, so please accept this offering of mine by going to daily Mass. Have you thought about that?
I really haven't. I mean, because I traveled from El Paso to New York back, and it's. I mean, I'm just familiar with the interstates, not with getting into like a big town like a church. I guess I can look them up. Yeah.
Oh. Well, and I just want to jump in here, Joe, because I just pulled up a couple things on the EWTN site that actually talked about your situation, and
right.
It actually says here that since a grave cause is needed to excuse one from this obligation, it would be a serious or mortal sin to willfully skip Mass on Sunday or a holy day of obligation, as the Church has always taught. Reasons such as the necessity to work to support one's family, child care, personal sickness, or the care of the sick, necessary travel, etc., would excuse a person on a particular occasion. Those who have a continuing reason, and that would be you, Joe, because it's a continuing reason because you're truck driving, should if you want to try and be excused from this, should consult their pastor. So they're deferring over to your pastor, and I would suggest that as well, to talk with your pastor on your particular situation, because in my estimation, you would have to really plan out your trips to be able to see where there's a Mass time in certain areas that you drive into that you could go to, because it's always been my understanding that if you should try to make every attempt possible if you're able to attend Mass. So I would definitely consult your pastor on this as well to get another, perspective. Because see, the thing about it is that our Sunday obligation, so many people, they struggle with when and why and what it means for them and what's it going to mean for their soul. And I think you really do have to get a clear, concise understanding for your particular situation, so that you're not put in that guilty feeling, or you don't feel like your soul's in jeopardy. And so you really want to be sure about it. And I would definitely take that time and do that research, Joe.
Every Sunday I mean, it's just maybe every other Sunday. But I was just wondering, because I mean, because I listen to it, and I guess that makes me feel better. But I just wanted to get a clear answer, Well, thank you. I appreciate your answer.
Joe, one other thing. Do you have a smartphone?
Yes, I do.
I travel probably 6 months out of the year, Joe, and so I am constantly looking for a parish and a Mass to go to. And there's an app, it's called Mass Times, or I think it's part of an app called the Catholic Directory. But if you just go onto the App Store for whatever kind of phone you have, and look for Catholic Directory or Mass Times, and they have a website too, masstimes.org, and it's very, very helpful. I have used it countless times. I can't tell you how many times. So there's a little bit more information for you, Joe. We're going to let you go on that because we got a break coming up, but it's a blessing, Joe, to hear that you have this. it's in your mind and it's in your heart that you want to be sure and fulfill that obligation. So I think Debbie's advice was really right on. Have a conversation with your pastor about that, and I think he can, kind of tighten up, any of the suggestions that we may have made for you. So thanks, Joe, for calling.
Yes, thank you so much, Joe. And please leave your address with us. We want to get you that rosary from the Holy Land. And, in Joe's situation, it's his work, and that's vitally important to sustain his family. And in others, it could be a caregiving situation. Somebody's, has to be away from Mass because to be a caregiver to others. So this situation goes along many lines. And I think it's important that we do talk to our pastor with our particular situations, because life is changing for everybody in different ways, and it's important for us to get a clear understanding so we don't carry around any type of, guilty feelings that we're not doing the right thing. And I think that's important. Especially, I hear this all the time, Jerry. People call all the time and ask me about when they're on vacation. Do you have to go to Mass? And do you know what I say? Yes.
What do you say,
yes.
Debbie?
Yes, and yes. Yes, the answer is yes. Vacation doesn't mean a vacation from Mass. And so, so that question comes up a lot. Okay, thank you, Joe, so very much. And we're going to, go ahead, Jerry, you're next.
Well, we got a break coming up in just a couple minutes. So what we're going to do, rather than start a call with one of you, we've got still full phone lines on this taped version of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Thank you so much for your patience. Each one of you, as we said, we are going to be delighted to send you one of the rosaries that we bring back from the Holy Land. And for those who just tuned in, Debbie and I are actually with a group of about 60 people, including Archbishop Samuel Aquila of Denver. This show is pre-recorded because today is the day we're traveling to the Holy Land. And Debbie, I just, as we get ready to go into the break, just want to tell people it's not too late for us to take their prayers with us to Israel.
Absolutely. So all you have to do is email your prayers to takemyprayers@gmail.com. We have hundreds now with us, and when we land at the Holy Land, we're going to be placing them at all the holy sites where Jesus walked, and it's going to be beautiful. So if you want to get your prayer intentions in, we would be honored to take them with us. takemyprayers@gmail.com. Thank you to the to computers that were able to get them as we land in the Holy Land.
Okay, again, we got a break coming up in just less than 2 minutes here, so thank you for your patience on the line. We will get to every one of you, we promise. Also, just a reminder or a kind of a heads up that Debbie and I, we've got our show gear packed with us. So you're going to be hearing this broadcast, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, live from the Holy Land, I think, hopefully at least 5 times. So be listening, here in the next day or two for several days of live broadcasts from Israel. And we hope to be able to, have your takes and your phone calls about the Holy Land and the places, like Debbie said, where Jesus walked, and our Blessed Mother and the apostles, and just so much richness in that part of the world. And we would ask you for your prayers for us as well. As we said at the start of the show, neither Debbie nor I has any apprehension. Steve Ray, our guide, he and his wife Janet have gone 100+ times. They just came back a couple of weeks ago from the Holy Land, Debbie. So Steve says it's all good, and we're looking forward to a blessed time.
Oh, yeah, I'm at peace. I'm excited. I can't wait to land there and really experience just that the whole atmosphere. I just want to breathe it all in, how Jesus walked, and just to get a visual of what I have learned about my whole entire life. And so hopefully we can transmit that back to you when we do the shows on location. Like Jerry said, we do have the gear with us, and it's very, very heavy. So it is. It's heavy.
Well, yeah, but baggage handlers are taking care of that for us right now. Until we get there.
Oh, bless your heart. Okay, there's that beautiful music. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go right back to the calls. And Sharon, you're up next, so please stand by. We're taking a quick break. We'll be right back.
Something amazing is happening on EWTN. One wildly dynamic speaker and a team of young missionaries are on a cross-country road trip, spreading their message of hope in Christ. Their passion is awakening youth to the power of God's love. It's energetic, honest, affirming, like nothing you've seen on TV before. You're Amazing with Justin Fatica. Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Global Catholic Network, EWTN.
One of the essential questions in the modern debate between atheism and theism is whether physical reality and time itself had a beginning. If it did have a beginning, then theism would for sure be vindicated. But if it didn't, then perhaps the atheist could hold out with the hope of an eternal universe without a creator. Which view does science give credence to? In 2003, three of the most respected physicists, Drs. Alexander Vilenkin, Arvind Borda, and Alan Guth, demonstrated that any model of physical reality that has an average expansion rate greater than 0, whether it's our universe, a multiverse, or a bouncing universe, even within the higher dimensions of space and string theory, has to have a beginning. And if a beginning, then it would need a transcendent creator in order to receive its existence. To learn more about this topic, visit our website, magicenter.com. I'm Carlo Broussard, apologist and speaker for the Magis Center, with your Magis Minute.
Check out EWTN's official YouTube channel.
Just follow the link on our homepage at EWTN.com or go to YouTube.com/EWTN.
Watch EWTN's live shows or today's homily from the Daily Mass.
Click the upload button to see our most recent clips.
You can also find all of EWTN YouTube content by clicking the playlist button.
It's all on the official EWTN YouTube channel at YouTube.com/EWTN.
Visit today.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, a pre-recorded broadcast today as we're en route to the Holy Land. Thank you all for your, I guess everybody who called in to help us with this show. You not only get a rosary touched to many of the holy sites from the Holy Land, we're going to mail those out to you when we get back, but you all tie for the Patience Award today. You've been waiting a long time, and we are so grateful for that. We love the connection we have with you, our listeners. So we're going to go right back to your calls to Sharon in Gaston, Oregon, who is a Mater Dei radio listener. Hello, Sharon. What is your question or your take today?
Good morning and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
I'm calling about my family. My husband and I have a large family. We have adult kids and still have teens at home. And our biggest struggle has been for when they leave the home that they don't continue their faith life and attending Mass. And it's so heartbreaking. And I'm a convert myself when our first two kids were tiny. But we've never established a family prayer time very well. It's been very sporadic, maybe during Advent or Lent, and not even the whole season of those. And I just need some guidance and encouragement on how do I start? I mean, I know it's I feel like it's late in the game for us, but I just really want to pray with my family. And my husband's devout as well, but we're both kind of not very open. And I don't know how to say it exactly, but real loud about our faith. So
Right.
That's where I'm at.
Kind of reserved. Your husband's kind of reserved about the faith?
Totally, yes.
Yeah.
Reserved.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's okay. So Sharon, first of all, welcome home. You're a convert. That is awesome. Totally
Thank
awesome.
you.
So that is great. Okay, so first of all, it's never too late to start. Never, ever, ever. Your children could be, 60 years old. It's never too late to start. You can start a family prayer tradition at any time. Best way to do it is you select a time, if in your husband and you together select a time and pick a time when all the kids can call in if they're at the university, and the other thing too is you're not alone. When our kids grow up and they go out into the world and they go to college and they start taking jobs in the secular world, you'll see this decline sometimes in their faith walk. Doesn't mean it's not there. It's just suppressed. So what you want to do is kind of reignite it. And you can do that so easily. You can call a family tradition a couple times a week, once a week, Sunday night, whatever. You pick a time when all the kids can call in on a cell phone. They don't even have to be together. You guys don't even have to physically be together. You call in and you either do some kind of spontaneous prayer, or you pray the rosary, or you do a chaplet of divine mercy, or an express novena, whatever you want to do. But you start the tradition back, and I'll tell you what it does. It reconnects them. The problem is our kids, it's like walking down a path where you get further and further away from home base. You look back and you can't quite see where your home station is, and then you get kind of lost in the forest a little bit. So you got to just kind of reconnect in little ways. I don't know if you're able to do that, if that's a good enough suggestion for you. I hope you take me up on it because I've seen it work for many, many families. I still know families that gather like at 8 o'clock on Sunday night. Everybody calls in. It's a beautiful conference call, and they pray together, and things come out of it that you never would have imagined.
Well, thank you. I hadn't thought of that. Some of our kids are in college and some are just in another state, but most are nearby. So
right.
That is encouraging. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Sharon. And please, it has to just be, you can be short. You can say, kids, it's going to be only 20 minutes. That's it. And you can get back to whatever you're doing, but you don't want to miss it because it's a time for us to reconnect as a family. And then you integrate prayer somehow, and you'll be shocked at what comes out of it. And as a matter of fact, Sharon, I feel so strongly about it because I had the Holy Spirit chills when I was just answering with you. So I know it's God talking. Please email us and let us know if you do take us up on that suggestion and how it's working with your family. Email us at take2 at EWTN.com and let us know how that's working for your family, because when it does work, because I believe that God it will work in your family, we can share that with others and it can help other families as well. So will you do that for us, Sharon, if you do it?
Yeah, I can try. You bet. And I just, I just wondered too if my husband really should be the leader in this, or he's just, he said I'll be there, but he doesn't really want to lead in that regard. So that's kind of part of the problem, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me just jump in there. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. If your husband is reserved, but he said he's supportive to be there, that's okay. You take the lead. Remember, you and him are united. You are together as one. If he's supportive, then he is taking the lead through you. And that's quite all right. And I've had many priests tell me, go for it, Sharon. Don't hold back waiting for your husband to step out of his comfort zone. He'll step out of it when he's ready. But if he's supportive, that's all you need.
Yeah, it's far better to get this moving and wait for the Holy Spirit, like Debbie said, Sharon, to prompt your husband. Again, just the fact that he's on board. Maybe it's just not in his nature to take a lead on something like that. But once this gets going and the fruits start to be realized, I think he's going to be very, very excited to maybe take more of a proactive role. So does all of that help, Sharon?
Yes. I just need a fire under me.
Well, we'll pray for that. Pray for that. You can do it, Sharon. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, God bless.
Don't forget.
God bless.
Thank you. And don't forget to leave your address with us. We want to get you that rosary. Great questions, great takes on today, this pre-recorded show on Random Takes, Random Questions. I like this show, Jerry. It moves fast. It's very nice. So we're going to go right to Johnny in San Antonio, Texas, listening on the iHeartRadio app. Hi, Johnny. Thanks for waiting. Welcome to Take Two.
Thank you. Hi, Terry and Debbie. The question that came up to mind is, I think I overheard you guys saying that this is not your first trip to the Holy Land. Am I correct?
I have been once before. Debbie, I don't believe you. Yeah, Debbie has not been before.
Okay, so my question was, I guess then for you, Terry, is what type of reaction do you get from the locals, especially from the Jewish community and stuff, knowing that they have Christian pilgrimages going on, all year long, and if there's ever any negative responses or comments or anything like that?
Well, I should probably take that one, Johnny. As we said, Debbie has not been there. I've been there one time. I wish we had Steve Ray on the line with us right now. He and his wife Janet have been there over 100 times. But here's the thing. I think there are exceptionally good relationships, Christian Jewish relationships, right at the very highest levels. Okay, you've got the Vatican and Jewish religious leaders. I think have a tremendous warm relationship, one of mutual support. Obviously, Catholics, we Christians look at the Jewish people, the Jewish practitioners of the Jewish religion, as our forefathers or foremothers in the faith, if you will. And so we have that reverence for them, obviously. And I think there are so many things that, people talk about a Judeo-Christian, ethic or what have you. There are so many things in common between Judaism and Catholicism that, we are, in a very real sense, like siblings in a way, if you will. We're just the younger sort of descendants of those who practice the Jewish faith. But now you're talking about more of a kind of like on the streets sort of environment. And quite frankly, my experience, and it was only one time, was extremely positive. I think there were no. I was never made to feel odd or uncomfortable in any way. Certainly not from any of the Jewish people. There's another dynamic, however, that you didn't bring up, Johnny, and that is. There are a lot. I was surprised at how many Muslims and mosques there are in Israel, in Jerusalem, and the surrounding areas. And I'm not saying that I was uncomfortable with that either. But I did get a sense that a lot of the vendors who want to sell you stuff are Muslims, and so in the back of your mind you're just thinking, well, are they they want to sell you rosaries and stuff, and I'm thinking, well, are they doing this to edify my faith? What's their motive? Are they just looking to kind of take advantage of the tourists? And I'm not saying that any of these are in the affirmative. It just makes these sort of questions enter your mind. And so, Debbie, I don't know if any part of what I've said you want to tag on anything onto, but it was my experience that there was very, very friendly environment all the way around.
Right, and yours comes from firsthand experience. Mine comes from friends who have been there, and then Rich, our producer, just weighed in and said his mom said it was great. Everyone over in the Holy Land treated them well, and they loved the tourism opportunity. And I would agree with that because, Johnny, I have a lot of friends who actually worked over in Israel and said that they welcome the Christian pilgrims. It's really part of their everyday existence and life, and so there's a real understanding, and our Jewish brothers and sisters over in Israel are very open, very, very open to they're just wonderful, accepting people in general, and that's what's so beautiful about it, and I really think that there's a real clear friendship amongst the Jews and the Christians, especially the Christian pilgrims, because they understand how important it is for us to visit these holy sites. And the Jews over in Israel understand how important it is that they have these holy sites. And so there's a real understanding and a real partnership. That's my understanding of it, and that's what I have heard. And so, Johnny, I hope that helps. I appreciate the question, though. That gives us a good food for thought as we're getting ready to almost land in the Holy Land.
All right, Johnny, does that take care of it for you? Yep, you bet. I was wondering if that took care of it for you. Was that satisfying?
Well. Yes.
Okay, good.
It did.
Thank you, Johnny in San Antonio listens on the iHeart app. Today's show is pre-recorded. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, because we are in flight right now on our way to the Holy Land. And again, we'll add your prayer intentions while we're there. If you want to just send them to takemyprayers@gmail.com. And Cindy in beautiful, I love Walla Walla, Washington, especially the onions. Cindy, I'm a native of Washington State, so welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and thank you for holding on so long. How are you, Cindy?
You're very welcome. Thank you. I'm good. Merry Christmas, and I hope you both have a safe and blessed trip.
Thank you.
I'm a widow for almost 7 years, and I met a divorced non-Catholic man that is interested in Catholicism. He attends Mass with me regularly and every week, and has since summer. He's been divorced for 7 years and has recently filed paperwork with the diocese for annulment. And while Pope Francis has declared in this year the of mercy to focus attention on marriage and the annulment process, we realize that his 21-year marriage may be considered valid marriage. So we're kind of at a loss as where to go from here should that happen. Is there no possibility for us then to have a sacramental marriage? And so I think we're kind of getting impatient to hear what that answer is going to be.
Well, let me just share with you, Cindy, that exact same. First of all, I wanted just to share our sympathies for the loss of your husband. Can you share his first name so we can pray for him by name? Bruce? Okay, Bruce. Yes. And so wanted to say that our sympathies are with you. And then also about your the annulment process for you and the gentleman that you are with. Here's something that was said to me by a priest when I was going through the annulment process. That same exact question was given to me. They said, well, what if your annulment is not granted? And what, do you realize what that means for you? You would not be able to, have a sacramental marriage again in the church, should you pursue another relationship. And, if you wanted, to still receive all the sacraments and everything and be in good standing with the church. And it was a real shock, I will tell you. I don't even want to begin to share with you my comment to the priest because I was just so, stunned. I was like, really? You got to be kidding me. That's kind of how I responded to the priest. But then after I thought about it, I thought, well, this is a lesson in patience. This is a lesson in faith. It's a lesson in trust of God. And I really turned it over to God. I said, this was my prayer. Exactly. I said, Lord, if you really feel that there is someone else out there for me to have, a sacramental union with, then please God, then allow this annulment to happen, but your will be done. I'll accept whatever happens. And I kind of shelved the impatience and I shelved the feelings of what if the annulment doesn't go through. And as you can tell, lo and behold, the annulment went through for me, and I did meet that special, wonderful man, Marty, and we do have a marriage in the church, and so it worked out. But I will tell you that I believe that the annulment process, and I keep saying this, in all its elements, have such huge benefits to our faith walk. And instead of getting into, well, the what if, maybe we can't be together, maybe this isn't going to be a sacramental union, we got to leave the church, we got to do all these what ifs, get into the process of really taking real strong root in your faith and saying, Lord, we're with you, we trust you, we understand, we're going to go through this process with patience and with a real sense of overwhelming faith. And then let it be. That's the best advice I can give you from having walked almost exactly the same walk that you're talking about. So I don't know if that helps you, Cindy, but that's what I can impart from my own experience.
It does, and like you, I am impatient. I was impatient. I still am, and need to learn that. And it's probably the Italian in me too. So
there you go. See, it's in our DNA. God understands that. Right. But I can tell you this. I can tell you this. Blessings will flow from your sense of even the slightest bit of patience and even the slightest bit of faith. I can guarantee you that when I had the slightest bit of patience with God, you wouldn't believe how many blessings he bestowed on me. It was unbelievable. I felt almost guilty receiving all of them because he was so great. So if that can help you at all, I think it's great. And don't be so hard on yourself. God created us this way. We do have that in us. And I think that's, we're all learning and growing. So we're all on the same path. And Jerry wanted to jump in. Go ahead, Jerry.
Well, Cindy, the only thing that comes to mind is Debbie shared beautifully from her experience. I just think from a spiritual perspective, it's beautiful that you are conscious of this this need to have the annulment first and the whole church's understanding of a sacramental marriage. And, if your heart is properly disposed to saying, Lord, may your will be done, I would just suggest that every day you make a quick little conscious offering to God of this, what is clearly not an easy thing to go through, and just say, Father, I want to offer this to you, and maybe offer it for those who didn't give as much due diligence, to the church's thinking on this, and said, well, I don't care if I don't need an annulment. I'm not going to wait for the annulment, and entered into another marriage anyway, and it's perhaps an adulterous relationship. and place their souls in a very place of jeopardy. So that's just another thought. You could do so much good with this, Cindy. So I don't know if if that's interesting, of interest to you or not, but that's what came to my mind.
Well, thank you very much.
Right. And Cindy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to tell you just to have a really good time and be safe.
Thank you,
and
Cindy.
We'll be praying for you, Cindy.
Before you go, while Jerry was talking real quick, Cindy, I just want to say, God wants you to be happy. Your heart's telling you one thing to be with this gentleman, and your heart's pulling you in that direction. God wants you to be happy. So always remember this. If it's his will, it'll happen.
Yes.
So you have to always consciously say that to yourself. And I said that to myself 100 million times a day. So, well, thanks, Cindy. And keep us posted. Email us on take2@EWTN.com and let us know how it's all progressing, especially.
I will do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. Okay, can I ask a question, Jerry? So for those that we don't get on the show today and we don't read on their YouTube chat, do they still get a rosary, or do we have to say it on the show?
We can still send them one. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
but we got time to get a few more.
Okay, good. Then we'll go right to Gary in Montana, listening so patiently. Hi, Gary. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, how are you?
Great,
good, Gary. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Well, Merry Christmas to you, too, and I hope you have a blessed trip to the Holy Land.
Thank you. Please pray for us.
I just had my sister and a group of people went there last year, and she told our community about it, and it just seems awesome. Really awesome.
Thanks, Gary. We appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah. But my question was, what does the church, or does the church even think about near-death experiences? Is it all right to think about that? I've read a couple books myself, and it's like you can't make this stuff up on what they tell you in the books and stuff. They're all true stories and whatnot. So what does the church say about that?
Okay, well, so Jerry, I can give my understanding of it. If you want to jump in and correct me or fill in the gaps, that would be great.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about this, but we can certainly give it a quick little try here.
Okay, Gary, it's my understanding that in near-death experiences, there's not like an official teaching from the Catholic Church on this exact subject. So people's experiences are people's private experiences. I mean, and so I believe that there's not an official weigh-in on people's private experiences because they don't know the circumstances. It hasn't been investigated by the church, or, it hasn't gone to the next levels to be deemed authentic or not. And there's some people have dismissed near-death experiences as, certain medical situations that happen with the medicine that's given or whatnot, or hallucinations or whatever mental state they were in at the time, or if they were coming in or out of surgery. So there's all these different variables that take place. But it's when you made the comment, what to think about near-death experiences, may I ask, what are you when you say think about near-death experiences, in what context are you thinking about them? Are you reading stories about near-death experiences and trying to derive what heaven and hell is like, or what's the point of the near-death experience that you're learning from?
Yeah, Debbie. I don't read much for books, and and I've really gotten into reading true stories about people, and so I've read, like I say, I read a couple books on two different instances that these families share of what they went through, and I think actually reading those books is very inspiring about what they say about heaven, and the people that they meet, their family members that they meet up there, and I think it's, for me, it seems like it's encouraging. It's hey, I want to get to know God even more so because of this, and just because I want to be up there and experience the experience what God has for us in mind. So.
Right. Makes complete sense. And all of us, I think we all kind of share that to some degree. And Jerry, I know you wanted to jump in and share something, and then I'm going to jump in after you.
Yeah, I think a very practical kind of common sense approach to this is, God can do anything that he wants. And so I'd say to say that there have, not been any legitimate, God-caused near-death experiences in the history of humanity is probably would be a stretch. That would be overstating it. But, some of these can get, a little kind of into the new age or just a little bit fringy, or a lot fringy for that matter. And so that would be my, word of advice, Gary, and I'm sure I didn't have to tell you that, but, we have scripture and tradition and the saints, and if someone claims to have had a near-death experience, if it doesn't mesh and jive with our faith in every way that I just mentioned, then I personally would, probably stay away from it. But Debbie, we got just about a minute to go, and you wanted to add to that.
No, that was actually well said. I was just going to echo that and just say, those are private experiences, Gary, and you just want to make sure that they do foster your faith in the Catholic tradition, and like you said, want you to grow deeper in your Catholic faith. And that's key, because and like you don't want to see, one thing is you don't want to hear a near-death experience that kind of dismisses everything we've been taught in Catholicism. And I have heard some near-death experiences that kind of dismiss everything we were trained in understanding, and that to me doesn't enhance my faith walk. So, but if you're hearing or reading these true stories of private experiences, and they are deepening your Catholic faith, well, then, I would common sense would tell you that seems, pretty valid. Right, Jerry?
Yeah. Gary, thanks for calling from Montana. We appreciate it very, very much. Take two with Jerry and Debbie. We didn't get to some of the, like email questions and stuff. Maybe we'll take them with us and answer them on a trip to the Holy Land. Now, it's possible that Debbie and I will not be with you tomorrow. That will only be, God willing, because of the schedule. We're landing in Israel on the 29th, and maybe we need to get to the hotel, and there's Mass and all this kind of stuff. So if you don't hear us, don't immediately assume that something happened to us on the way over there. But Debbie, we want to take people's prayer intentions. It's still not too late.
takemyprayers@gmail.com. And thanks, everyone, for helping us do this show. You are so beautiful, and have a beautiful and blessed Christmas season.